there's no substitute for good behavior. That's just what I feel in my spirit. So that's what I'm saying, that there's no substitute for good behavior. I'm on the highway driving from city to city because I got to go to my church, my home church, which I go to, City of David. Prophet Cornelius Hill is presiding bishop. He's presiding bishop. He's a set man. That's his ministry. I only laugh because there's also the title of bishop. Maybe but he's presiding bishop. All right. So, but what I was saying is, in good behavior, just because you have to sacrifice. You can't just say I'm going to miss church because it's in a different city, or because you were working late. You turn off the cell phone to be productive. The alarm on the cell phone didn't wake you up. Oh, now's a reason for me to stay home. Nah. You sacrifice. And really, be honest, my own confession is, and so here's the temptation. Let me go into this. You can set your schedule. There can be challenges with your schedule. And so you set your schedule because you mapped it out like, if I follow this game plan, I'm going to be successful. But what happens is, you might not be able to build Rome in one day. You might not be able to build an empire in one day. But you're a person who likes to follow through. So the temptation is, and I'm building Rome, but I'm also building my body. So there was things that I had to do, even though I went heavily the day before on a workout. I wanted to work out again, but also had a goal that was in the back of my mind. Even though I did something till 5 a.m. working, which is going to be the behind the scenes video, because this is the next video. I schedule my things out. This is the next video. In the behind the scenes video, that's will be uploaded and set to be uploaded on this day. So the work that I was doing on 5 a.m. Long story short, I might have did something till 5 a.m. working. I was tired. I mentioned something, trying to grind. Took some maximum strength energy drinks. Like, they said you sleep. I'm like, nah, I ain't sleep. Took a good, come on through. We did what we had to do. I was like, yo, take a break. I'll see you whenever I see you. I know you're gonna need a rest probably from me. I'm gonna need a rest from you. I don't know. I'm gonna sleep maybe 1.5 hours, drive to another city, and then do ministry for hours, and then beat back to the city and do some other stuff, and put in my time with fam and different things like that, just to check up on them. Like, when you grind throughout your whole week, you want to have some family time in there too. BibleUniverse.com, I saw that. Just shouting you guys out. Good stuff. I love to see that when I'm driving. All right, but so you spend your time where it's a relaxation around family, and in that time I said, I kind of like, yo, I had the strength to stay up, and I knew this is what's in the back of my mind, my next project to work on. But I've done this before, because I've been with people, and I'll drive to a whole nother city and be like, I'm looking at myself like I'm shocked, because I know we're going around spiritual people, but I would have thought I needed sleep. And I'll pray, God, please let me get some sleep. And I'll get hours of sleep, just 1 hour of sleep. And it's only because I felt that it's normal to sleep. But sometimes we can operate in the supernatural and super normal, past it, beyond the normal. But sometimes when we see that, sometimes it's like our mind is still like, this, am I doing the right thing? So I felt the energy where I could have still stayed up, but I didn't pray like last time, like, God, please let me get to sleep, and then get to sleep for an hour, and then go a whole, driving 13 hours through America and stuff like that, to see one minister and then come here, you know what I'm saying? So I said, yo, I've been running and ripping and roaring. I'm not praying for sleep. I'm just taking sleep while I'm seeing fam. And I maybe took 1.5 hours of sleep. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, yo, I'm constructing this body, this temple. So, and I like to have a certain amount of time that I put in. So I put in some time, but it wasn't around the time that I put in. And getting around to it, I realized this was happening. And even though I went for, I can give you the game as far as building muscle and stuff. I went for hypertrophy. So that's the game. Even though I went for that the day before, instead of taking a rest day, I know I wanted to do some more. And I know I could do some more, but what's happening is I would be sacrificing the project in the back of my mind. And I kept trying to get to it, going to the gym. I met somebody, which was good. We connected on the music tip and different things like that, exchanged information. So that was great. Networking is good. And then, so that kind of bled into my workout. And so you got to understand, when you're tired, you're like, okay. You're not giving it your all. So I did my workout. I stopped, took a break to do something. And like, I couldn't do my workout here, I couldn't do my workout there. But long story short, hours, as I'm moving at this pace, not having a black coffee, which does it for me. More so even than the energy drinks. Going to McDonald's and it being closed, going to another McDonald's and it being closed because it's so late at night. And going to a computer lab, which I'm coming from now, and going to church is like, and I'm like, yo, computer lab. I'm thinking about people that I pray for and care for. I'm like, yo, I could have stayed at home in my prayer closet and probably got more done. But same time, sometimes you feel like you can get more done outside of your familiar and comfortable environment. So you just got to gauge which voice is true. But what I'm saying is, in the midst of all this, I could have just cut it and said, my schedule says I'm supposed to be asleep. And so now look at me, I'm driving on the highway trying to get there and I'm a little bit late, and that's not cool. Because what I want to say is, you set your schedule, you might not be able to build Rome in one day. Your schedule is your game plan, so don't deviate from your game plan. This is what I would do in college. Sometimes you're like, bro, you might have this, and if you're not pulling an all-nighter for that test, you don't have that test, you're not pulling an all-nighter for that test, go ahead and sleep, bro. Go ahead and rest. Take rest. Rest is part of the plan. This is your game plan. Because what happens is, you're going to get more and more efficient with that time. When something is in the back of your mind trying to get you to exceed your own schedule, and you set your schedule for success based upon rest. Even the Bible said take a Sabbath day for rest. He said that was for man. That ain't for, you think it's for, that's for you. You know what I'm saying? So, and God knows how we operate. That's why I said we go to Him to understand our purpose, to understand how we operate and function. Then that's how someone can say, I really know how I'm supposed to operate. You're supposed to operate supernatural. So I'm reading this Bible, and now I can say it's God, and some people, they're like, oh, okay, whatever. How do you do what you do? Well, it's God. Okay, whatever. But you're reading the Bible, and it's God. But some people are saying, well, what they're saying is, well, no, I got God too. But that's what I said, like, are you trimming your own candles? Or are you just keeping a match lit? Are you trimming your own candles? Are you gathering from God? Because when you say you got God, you act like you already got it. You got to go and get the manna every day. And then on that day of rest, you take that day of rest. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when do you got all of God? That's why it says there's a generation that seeketh the Lord. Not that sought, that seeketh repeatedly. Did you get this? Is He really your boss? Did you get instructions for the day? He says, the voice of the Lord And we know who that is, the voice. That walked with or communed with Adam in the cool of the day in the mornings. You got your instructions. So that's some more secret to success. About what happens in the mornings. You're supposed to have the instructions for the day. You're supposed to go over your plans with God. You're supposed to, and you do these things, and I'm just letting you know, that don't mean automatically it's going to be smooth sailing. It might be a little bit of some turbulence as you're going to a higher altitude. And then it's also a component of faith and trust. Like, I'm trusting in God and I'm trusting in this plan. This is the plan. It says with our mind we serve the Lord. So we got a brain and we used it and we prayed, or we felt in the spirit like, okay, God, should I do this hour or that hour, and how should I do it? Should I sleep in the daytime or the morning or the afternoon? These are all the things when you're trying to really game a plan. Like, your plan is, when should I sleep? How's I'm going to act? How am I going to get the most done? And then you interact with other people, and when you come in contact with them, sometimes they're like, man, you are on some other stuff. Cool, you do you. You know what I'm saying? But you don't compare yourself with nobody. You just doing you should be doing God. That means growing in God to the best of your ability, and then doing that and walking that out on the earth. That is a man, a woman of God. That's what we're called to. That's what we're supposed to be duplicating, multiplying in the earth. All right, y'all, be blessed. So I was just saying is that when you set your plan, keep to your plan. Long story short, keep to your plan. Because as you set your plan, then you're going to get acclimated to your own plan. That means you're going to start maximizing your plan. You're really going to hit it. So within that 4-hour block for work, you might get 3 hours done. You might start with 2 hours. You might have to swap an hour. But when you're able to swap an hour, that means you really gamified the plan. Like, anytime they say you learn music, these are the notes, these are standard notes, and then once you become able, whether it be music or whatever, and this is what I was in the session, it was a music session, and I said, you learn what is being shown, you learn it, and then when it's time to perform it, it's not a learning. You've mastered it, now you're performing and you flow. Now I can play with it. That's what it should be. It should be play. By the time you're performing, that's play. So that's what I'm saying. By the time you've mastered your own schedule, now you play with it, you flip an hour. Like, hey, bro, that's a whole new day. But you flip it, like, and then at the end, you still kept to it. But you have to have faith in it, that it's okay for me to sleep, even though the overall thing is not done. And you might feel like I'm right there. But for me, I know in the situation, it's a long-term project, but you can break up into sections. But sometimes you just gotta trust it and say, I'm calling it. I'm supposed to be asleep. I'm calling it. I'm going to sleep, having faith in God. And when you go to sleep, say your prayers. Go over the day with God. Tell him what you want to see happen in the morning. Pray and say, God, bless me to get it done in the morning, because we got our morning scheduling time. So you don't have to swallow the whole horse at one sitting, okay? Okay, workaholics, folks who have those tendencies, I feel y'all. I identify. Get rest, follow your plan.